Hey everyone, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. The Thrillerathon is just around the corner. It starts on the 15th until the 23rd from midnight till midnight. The Thrillerathon is a readathon where you get a bunch of challenges and you've got to try and read as many books in the thriller genre as you possibly can that connect to the certain challenges. And this season is the winter season, which is great. I'm actually going to be heading off to Europe next week, and my first day of work is the 15th, so I have no idea how this is going to go. I'm moving to Europe, starting a job on the boats, but in my spare time I'll be living on board and I'll just be able to get into my little cabin and cozy up with my reading. So for this season, the winter one, they've actually done something so clever and creative. They've done a Pluto theme. So basically every challenge links up to the game Pluto. So, you know, you get the characters like Sgt Mustard or Scarlet or someone like that, and places like, you know, the library, the kitchen, the study, and you get the weapon, you know, a knife or a gun or whatever. So all the challenges relate to a Pluto theme, which is really fun, and you've got to try and guess something throughout the process. I think as many books as you finish, you get given a clue. Or I'm not exactly too sure how it works. I'll leave the link to the original video in the description box down below. But anyway, let me tell you the challenges and what I hopefully can get around to reading, depending on how busy my life is about to get in Europe. So the first challenge is Dr. Peacock, the oldest thriller on your TBR. So for this, I decided to go with Unravelling Oliver by Liz Nugent. I don't know how to pronounce that, never have. Unravelling Oliver is a book that has been on my TBR pile for longer than I care to admit. It's been on previous readathons for me as well, but I just never get around to reading it. And I don't know why, because it sounds right up my street. This is a book about a guy called Oliver Ryan, and he's happily married to his wife. I think they're super successful. They write illustrated children's books or something together. They are very privileged and have a very good life. And then one day, they're having dinner, everything's going perfectly, but suddenly he punches her and knocks her unconscious and into a coma. So now his wife is literally on the verge of life and death in hospital. Friends and family don't understand why Oliver would have done this. So the book is basically unraveling that story. So I'm very excited for it, and like I said, I mean, I've got it downloaded on Audible, so I'll be listening to it whenever I can. You know, I'm going to be on the boats cleaning a lot, so I might be able to put in some headphones while I'm ironing and doing my thing. You can double up on the challenges, and I do plan to do that because there's no way I'm going to get through 9 books, because I think there's 9 challenges. So I will be doubling up Unravelling Oliver with Scarlet, which is another one of the challenges. It's the shortest thriller on your TBR, and Unravelling Oliver is a 6-hour, 49-minute audiobook, which is quite a short audiobook for me. I tend to go for the longer ones lately for some reason, even though I hardly have any time to do that. So yeah, that's Unravelling Oliver for 2 of the challenges. The next challenge is Sgt Mustard, choose the book with the creepiest cover. So for this one, I've gone for Growing Things and Other Stories by Paul Tremblay, who wrote A Head Full of Ghosts, which I absolutely loved. He's written The Cabin at the End of the World. He's a very underrated horror author, in my opinion. He is so much better than Stephen King. I'm probably going to get so many thumbs down for that, but why I chose this cover for the creepiest cover, in my opinion, is it's so vague. You don't know what you're going to get from it. It's like a off-white with this viney, entangled green rope or something. And I'm just very intrigued by it. And the cover to me is a bit freaky. Like, what's that vine gonna do? Is it gonna come and strangle you? Or I don't know. But apparently this book is a bunch of anthologies, so it's I think 19 short stories. Apparently some of the short stories do link to his other work, and I have only read 2 others, A Head Full of Ghosts and The Cabin at the End of the World. I know apparently The Disappearance at Devil's Rock is also a theme in this book, and I haven't read that one, so I'm hoping I'll be able to follow along. Paul Tremblay is very well known for knowing what our deepest, darkest fears are and bringing that to life in a book. The thing with Paul Tremblay is I find his books, even though it's not like fantasy or it's more paranormal, but he still does it in this way that makes it so believable and so freaky. So I'm really looking forward to that one. The next challenge is going on to the places from Pluto. So the first one is the library. The library is a new to you author, and for this one I'm going to say pretty much all of the books I'm going to be reading, besides Paul Tremblay, I think, are new to me authors. So there we go. That's a double up for many of the books, Liz, Nugent, and some of the others I'm about to mention now. Then we have the kitchen, and for this one you've got to choose a trope that you love in a book. So I've chosen Under My Skin by Lisa Unger. A lot of people find this maybe a little bit too common in books, but I really enjoy unreliable narrators that you can't trust. And the start of this book goes, what if the nightmares are actually memories? So it sounds like the kind of book where the main character will have no idea what is real, what's reality, and what's not. I really love that in a book. Under My Skin is about this lady called Poppy whose husband was brutally murdered while he was out on a run, and straight after that, obviously, she goes into this dark downward spiral pit of depression. She ends up disappearing for about a week, and when she reappears, she's in this funny red dress that she doesn't recall putting on, and she has no recollection of her time while she was away. She starts having these blackouts and this confusion about life and what happened to her, what happened to her husband. The case was never solved with his death. And then it seems like she starts to believe that someone is following her, so she gets all paranoid. And she doesn't know what's real, doesn't know what's not, and I'm there for it. I think it's going to be an excellent book. One of the weapon challenges is Dagger, which is an author you've read before, so I'm going to double up with the Paul Tremblay one and Lisa Unger, because I have actually read one Lisa Unger book before called, what's it called again? Crazy Love You, and I really, really liked that book. It was amazing. I won't go into the premise of Crazy Love You right now, but I highly recommend that book. It was so twisty and turny and full of surprises. I was baffled, so I highly recommend that one. And that said, I think that Under My Skin is going to be a really, really good book to read too. I'm excited for this. I think I'm going to have some really good reading while I'm not working. The next challenge is study. So you've got to choose a recommended thriller. And I'm busy writing I haven't written for a little while now, but I was busy writing a thriller based on a bunch of ballerinas disappearing and there's a serial killer on the loose. So someone recommended to me Pretty Girls Dancing by Kylie Brant. And funnily enough, I only heard about this book after I'd come up with the premise for mine, and I really don't want to say they sound too similar, but it seems like it could potentially be quite similar, which is a bit worrying. So I think I have to read this one to make sure, but it's about years ago in this town called Saxonville. This daughter disappeared and was never found again. Her family didn't understand what was going on. Everyone was struggling. And then years later, another girl goes missing and it opens up old wounds. And in my book, all the ballerinas disappear in quick succession. So I suppose, it's not too similar then, so far. Let's carry on with the premise. Bureau of Criminal Investigation agent Mark Foster has stumbled on uncanny parallels in the lives of the two missing girls that could unlock clues to a serial killer's identity. That means breaking down the walls of the Willards' long-guarded secrets and getting to a truth that is darker than he bargained for. Now, to rescue one missing girl, he must first solve the riddles that disappeared with another, Kelsey Willard herself. Dead or alive, she is his last hope. Okay, so this is more of a detective crime book more than mine, which is a pretty gory thriller, as I love. But I am excited because I don't know that much about ballet, and I think that a book about other ballerinas could potentially hold some information and shed some light on ballet stuff that I don't know much about, so I'm excited to read that. The last challenge is Candlestick, so you have to choose the newest thriller on your TBR, and Pan Macmillan South Africa just sent me Your Truth or Mine by Trisha Sakhlecha, which is a very strange surname, but this is a book about a married couple called Mia and Roy, and their marriage is absolute, their commitment to each other is whole, but then one day there's a knock at the door and Roy gets questioned about the disappearance of a missing woman. So now it's like, do they even know each other at all? Their entire marriage is in question. It sounds pretty good, and it's a nice book that I actually have a physical copy of that it's actually already in my suitcase, packed away, ready to head off to Europe with me. So they're the books that I am hoping to get through in the Thrillerathon. Let me know if you're going to be taking part and what books you'll be reading for it. I hope you have a great day, and I guess I might see you when I'm in Europe. See you later, guys. Bye. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's also the group book pick, which is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which is actually a book that I've already read and bloody loved. I just finished his other one, Recursion, which I didn't find quite as good, to be honest, but for those of you that are participating in the Thrillerathon and will be reading Dark Matter, I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. I thought it was fantastic. See you next time, guys, in Europe. Bye!